Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. Myself Samsher Khan. I am a InfoSec trainer and a team member of OSP Katak. We just started a series on Python 3 for application security. Welcome to the scanning section where we will code a tool that scan our target host. So first of all, I will tell you that how we can start this series, what type of tools we will create in the future. So the first section is the port and vulnerability scanning. After that, we will work on FTP and SSH login. So in the first section, port and vulnerability scanning, we start with the simple port scanner tool. So in the first section, ports and vulnerability scanning, we will create a simple file called port scan. Yeah. So let's start with the Swing line of a Python 3 user in Python 3. Now import the module called socket, which is make a connection between the two hosts. So import the module name is socket. After that, create a variable. So I will choose a sock as a variable to create a socket object. Socket.socket, it will create an object to define socket.af underscore inet, INET, comma, socket.sock underscore stream. So in the socket object, you can see that I'm going to write socket.af underscore inet, which is used to define IP version 4 address, and the socket.sock underscore stream is defined for TCP connection, which is a connection reliable, and the UDP connection is UDP protocol, or UDP is not a connection reliable, it's unreliable. So here we will use TCP connection for sock underscore stream. Now create a variable for target IP address. So before we type the IP address of a target, we need to start a target. So here I'm starting my Metasploitable 2 machine for target host. We'll use a Docker container to start Metasploitable machine. That was a command docker run -it and the username, and then after that a machine name, image name, and then latest sh-c and the service. So let's start. So now you can see that our target machine has been started. Now check the IP address of the target machine. So you can see that the IP address of this target machine is 172.70.0.2. So let's define the IP address 172.17.0.2. Now define the port number in a variable called port. So we enter the port 80, we use the port 80 to scan. Now define the function with the help of def keyword. The name of our function is port scan with the argument of port. Now I'm going to writing if statement for the variable result. In the result variable, it holds the value of a connection, sock.connect, host variable which hold the IP address, and the port variable which hold the port number. So sock.connect underscore ex is defined that the port and the host is reachable and the value of result, if the value of a result is equal to 0, that means the port is open. If the host and the port return the value of result is 0, then the port is open. Port is open. In the else statement, if the value of a result is not a 0, then port is closed. So to execute this code or execute this function, we need to call the function. So let's call the function. So now one more, import socket. That means it will import the module of a socket. The socket module create a connection between two hosts or two machines. The sock variable will create a socket object which define the connection type. Socket.af underscore inet, which define IP version 4 address, and the socket.sock underscore istream, which define the TCP connection, not UDP. A host variable is host, IP address of our target host, and the port variable is port number of a which we will define. After that, we define a function which is called port scan with the argument of port. In the next line, the result variable hold the value of connection type return value. When the port is reachable, then the result value is 0. If the host and the port is not reachable, then the result value is not 0. So if the result value is 0, it will print port is open. If the result value is not 0, then it will print port is closed. So let's check the program that the program is executed or not. So I'll save this program. So here's our file. So let's execute the program by using Python 3 and port scan.py. So you can see that it will say that there is a syntax error. So let's check what was the problem. So we forget to add a colon here because it is the if statement. So if statement ends with this colon. Now execute the program again. So you can see that it is saying that the port is open. So which port is open? The port 80 is open. Because the result value return with 0. So the IP address and the port is reachable. If the connection is reachable, then the value return in the result value in the result variable is 0. So if we change the value 81. So let's check. Again I run this program. So you can see that the port is closed because in the target IP address 172.17.0.2 there is no port 81 is open. So when the function is executed, host and the port not reachable, and the result value will return value which is a garbage value. That means the result is equal to 0. So that it will execute port is closed. So in the next video we will improve this program for better performance. So thank you for watching Auspatak series Python 3 for application security.